All right. That young lady in the red, right there. Right there. She had all her friends helping her out.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ines, also from Heidelberg. And
hello.
And I'm totally European. And first of all, I wanted to tell you that your name in Hungarian means peach. If you knew.
Peach?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, how about that? I did not know that.
Yeah. Now you know it. And we wanted to know if you... did you ever regret to have run for presidency till now? I mean, well, did you ever ask yourself, am I sure to manage, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Michelle definitely asked that question. You know, there have been times, certainly during the campaign, and there have been times over the last several months where you feel a lot of weight on your shoulders. There's no doubt about it. During the campaign, the biggest sacrifice, the thing that was most difficult, was that I was away from my family all the time. You know, in addition to missing, in addition to being jealous about high-speed rail and the nice trains here, I'm also jealous of the fact that campaigns here only last a few months. Whereas in the United States, we were running for 2 years. So I was away from home all the time. And that was very difficult because not only do I have a wonderful wife, but I have 2 perfect daughters. And so, you know, I miss them a lot. But the nice thing is, now that I'm president, it turns out I have this really nice office in my house called the Oval Office. And so it only takes me a few seconds to get upstairs, and I'm home for dinner every night. You also lose privacy and autonomy, or anonymity. You know, it's very frustrating now. You know, it used to be when I came to Europe that I could just wander down to a cafe and sit and have some wine and watch people go by and, you know, go into a little shop and, you know, watch the sun go down. And now I'm in hotel rooms all the time. And I have security around me all the time. And so just, you know, you losing that ability to just take a walk, you know, that is something that is frustrating. But having said all that, I truly believe that there's nothing more noble than public service. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to run for president. That, you know, you might work for Doctors Without Borders, or you might volunteer for an agency, or you might, you know, be somebody working for the United Nations, or you might be the mayor of Strasbourg, right? I mean, they're all. You might volunteer in your own community, but the point is that what I found at a very young age was that if you only think about yourself, how much money can I make, what can I buy, you know, how nice is my house, what kind of fancy car do I have, that over the long term, I think you get bored. I think your life becomes, I think if you're only thinking about yourself, your life becomes diminished. And that the way to live a full life is to think about, what can I do for others? How can I be a part of this larger project of making a better world? Now, that can be something as simple as as the joy of taking care of your family and watching your children grow and succeed. But I think, especially for the young people here, I hope you also consider other ways that you can serve, because the world has so many challenges right now. There's so many opportunities to make a difference. And it would be a tragedy if all of you who are so talented and energetic, if you let that go to waste, if you just stood back and watched the world pass you by. Better to jump in, get involved. And it does mean that sometimes you'll get criticized, and sometimes you'll fail, and sometimes you'll be disappointed. But you'll have a great adventure. And at the end of your life, hopefully you'll be able to look back and say, I made a difference. All right? Thank you, everybody.
Of music for the U.S. President Barack Obama, taking questions from university students at this town hall meeting in Strasbourg, where a NATO summit is now getting underway. The U.S. President taking questions on everything from a dog in the White House to his insistence that the United States would not shoulder as he put it, the anti-terror battle alone. He vowed to repair relations with Europe and admitted that the alliance, the transatlantic alliance, had been allowed to drift. Well, President Obama is at the NATO summit to mark the transatlantic alliance's 60th birthday. The French President Nicolas Sarkozy earlier gave his full backing to Washington's new strategy for the region. More than 20,000 U.S. troops will soon be deployed to Afghanistan. But reports say the U.S. President will not be pressing his NATO allies to also send more forces to tackle the growing security threat in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But as our Europe editor Mark Mardell reports, NATO's Secretary General is expressing concern among NATO allies about their Afghan partners.
Mr. President, meet the President. The two glamorous First Ladies greeted each other like old friends in front of an enthusiastic crowd. It's been a while since the French have waved the stars and stripes with such verve, but following President Obama's every move has become something of a national hobby.
Hello! Hello! Oh. Good to see you.
This summit is a celebration. NATO is 60 years old. President Sarkozy has dismissed traditional French fears about American domination, and the French have rejoined the political part of NATO. But there's serious business too. President Obama won't be so crude as to ask for more troops for Afghanistan, but that's what he's after. In an open-air news conference, he went out of his way to welcome the return of France.
I just wanted to publicly thank and praise France once again for its outstanding leadership when it comes to Afghanistan. I've not had to drag France kicking and screaming into Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan, Americans like the British worry they do all the fighting while other European troops operate away from the action. NATO insists it's just helping the Afghan government, but plans to introduce a new law in parts of Afghanistan, legalizing rape within marriage and restricting women's ability to own property, worry the Secretary General of NATO. He told me it'll go down badly among the allies.
When I see at the moment a law threatening to come into effect, which fundamentally violates women's rights and human rights, that worries me, and that's why I'm saying that worries me greatly. That's why I'm saying.
And it worries some countries that might come forward with troops otherwise, perhaps.
How can I defend, or how can the British government defend, or the Canadian government, the Dutch government, that our boys and girls are dying there in the defense of universal values? And you see a law almost coming into effect, not yet, there's still a possibility not to sign, which fundamentally violates women's rights and general human rights.
The French president says it's good to work with an American president who wants to change the world. Few think it's going to be an easy job.
Mark Mardell, our Europe editor. Well, there's in-depth analysis of the challenges facing NATO in Afghanistan on its 60th birthday on our website, including the latest blog posting from Mark Mardell. That's all at bbc.com/news. Let's go to Strasbourg to join our diplomatic correspondent, Paul Adams. Paul, we've been watching Barack Obama taking questions from students with very much a message that the United States will not shoulder what he called the anti-terror battle alone, and telling them that Europeans faced a greater threat from al-Qaeda than the United States. Is that a message that's accepted by the NATO leaders he'll be meeting shortly?
I think you're absolutely right to put your finger on that point, Lise, because I think that is very much at the heart of what President Obama has come here to Strasbourg to say. To say, on the one hand, look, don't think for a second that this is only a fight about America's security interests. An al-Qaeda attack, he said, could be more likely to happen on European soil than on American soil, simply because of Europe's proximity to Afghanistan and Pakistan. And on the other hand, while America is making it fairly clear that it's ready to shoulder by far the greater part of the military burden in committing